And he will whether you want him to or not.
I would just like to say hello to everybody out there in Radio Land.
Yes, yes. Nanu, nanu.
Yeah, peace, love, and groovy beats. One of the things we do need to talk about at some point this morning is what's playing on
Art Linkletter.
Yeah, Art Linkletter, yeah. Wow, you're dating all of us now, suddenly.
I only date the missus.
Yeah. The things
I
children
love
say.
your missus. Hi, Patty. She's my soulmate. I love her.
This is going downhill. Hey, we got to talk about what's playing at the Sawmill Theaters, and there's a movie that I've oddly enough never heard of before that's playing. It's I think it starts today, if I'm not mistaken. Cajillionaire.
Yes,
Yes.
that is a movie, and you're absolutely right. You've never heard of it, and it starts today.
And we're probably going to see it, right?
Oh yeah,
Oh, yeah.
A woman's life is turned upside down
upside down.
Upside down.
when her criminal parents, looking much like Andy
We're the
Garcia,
criminal parents?
That's
I don't
right.
think so.
when her criminal parents and an outsider to join them on a major heist that they're planning. It is rated R. It plays at 1:15, 4:15, and 7:15.
And guess who the criminal mom, the actress that plays the criminal mom?
Who?
Guess who? Guess who?
I give up.
Deborah Winger.
Haven't seen her in anything in a long
Winger.
time.
You know why?
Love her.
For the last 6 years, she's only made television shows.
Really?
Yeah, lots of them, but yeah, it's winter time now. We don't need that. It's down to 90.
Man, that was the ambient noise.
Who else is in this movie? I mean, do we have any other? I mean, that's Deborah Winger. That's a big name from days gone by.
Yeah.
Anybody else?
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't write anything down. I can't remember the lead actress's name. It's a
Young blonde by the looks of the picture.
yeah, and she is
Not hard to look at.
most famous in my estimation for playing in a movie 13.
13.
Yeah, that came out in 2003, I believe.
Wow.
And that was a wonderfully made but absolutely terrifying movie.
Really?
It's a horror story, and it's not a traditional horror story. It's about two 13-year-old girls who are growing up.
As they often do.
That's a horror story in and of itself.
That is
Because when I was 13, I was a horror story.
that
Yeah.
that was the horror story.
Ugh.
Thank God we all survived.
It's only
Well,
it's only because of God I survived. I know that.
Yeah.
I resemble that comment.
Fortunately, both my children are males, and we have different
Gee, thanks.
have different issues with males, but
Yeah, I think still at 13 they're kind of a mess too.
oh yeah, but they don't come home pregnant.
Yeah.
They come home and tell you they got somebody else pregnant.
Then you say,
I
well,
think this is a whole different talk show.
that's what the Foreign Legion is for.
Okay, send him off to Siberia.
I had my younger son convinced that the Foreign Legion was some kind of a French language school.
Well, learn so much.
The Foreign Legion is the one sliver of French military presence that they are not the cheese-eating surrender monkeys.
Right?
Yeah. I mean, the Foreign Legion, they were bad.
Well, still are.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Really?
Yeah, really. And they make up for the Vichy, everything else.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a good memoir of an American fellow that went into the Foreign Legion and tells about his experiences there, and I think it's called A Mouthful of Rocks.
Well, that makes you want to run right out and watch it.
Well, it's a book.
That's all I do is watch books. I look at it and say, yeah, it looks like it's a book.
I've been wanting to counsel you on that.
Oh, you're actually supposed to read them, right? Oh, okay. Well, hey,
But anyway, Zillionaire,
Right.
Cajillionaire. I'm intrigued by this. It's a story of grifters. Do you know what a grifter is?
A drifter?
No,
No,
a
a
grifter.
grifter.
A grifter, never
Yeah.
heard of it.
There's a great movie, by the way, of that
Called
name. Yeah.
The
The
Grifters.
Grifters with
Yeah.
John Cusack and the wonderful young Annette Bening.
Yes.
Yes, yes.
She was
And
wonderful
Angelica
too.
Houston
And
as well.
Angelica
Oh
Houston.
my God! So and yeah. Oh my God.
That's
Yeah.
from the
Great
movie The
movie.
Grifters, and she's absolutely right. It's a
Yeah.
terrific movie.
Yeah.
That's where I learned that if you beat somebody with a sack full of oranges, you can rupture their internal organs and
Yeah,
not,
And not show anything.
any marks on
Right.
the outside.
Right. This is a useful skill.
Okay.
Yes.
Great
Anyway,
fun at parties. Yeah.
Anyway, grifters are criminal by trick, criminal by
By deception.
By deception,
Yeah,
yeah.
and they, well, you know, The Sting.
Right,
Remember,
right,
it
right.
was a kind of a grifter movie.
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah. In fact, they were grifters.
Yes, they were. Paul
some-
Newman and
I've led such a sheltered
and
life.
what's his name?
That's right. The good-looking
The
guy.
cute guy.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, Robert Redford.
That's the one.
So this Cajillionaire looks like a drama, right?
It's a crime. It's a crime thing.
Right.
It's a
crime drama, I guess you would say.
What are those? A crime? Not an escapade.
A heist.
A
Not-
heist?
Well, it's not a heist. It's a grifter movie.
Yeah, but they're.
There's another term.
There's a term, and it'll come to me after I'm off the air.
And this is what'll help her get to that, because we'll talk about another movie, and then all of a sudden it'll come to her. The next movie we want to talk about at the Sawmill Theaters is The Broken Hearts Gallery.
Oh.
Yes.
Saw that last week.
Yes, we
Is
did.
that right?
Yes.
Boy, I thought that girl was really good. I liked
Oh,
it.
she's wonderful. Yeah.
The movie itself, not spectacular, but the leading actress was wonderful. It's an Australian girl.
It makes me believe that we should raise the voting age to 35.
Yeah, well,
Because
there is that.
These people in this movie, I kept thinking, you know, oh, this is so cute. Oh, this little soy boy. I mean, he just a little,
Silly boy.
you know, really. And it was just,
That's a good phrase. I like that.
I'm gonna
yeah.
have to use that one.
Well, you know, it's
Write it
estrogen
down.
infused.
Oh, good.
Yeah, and I enjoyed this kind of superficial thing about the movie, and at the same time I was sitting there horrified going, there are people who are watching this movie thinking of these folks in this movie as role models.
Wow.
That's a scary thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's to be fair. I mean, if you
You're
watch
trying to be fair.
if you watch a movie about set in the rurals of New Mexico, you would think you would have cowboys and Indians and stuff like that, and that would be some sort of an ethos involved in that little slice of society.
Mhm.
Well, this one is set in Manhattan, and there's a generational slice of society, which these kids are millennials, and
Man,
He says that with such fervor.
I'm telling you, it's worrisome. It's worrisome.
but anyway, so they are millennials. They are
Yes.
in New York.
Yes.
They are
And they are full of the extravagant, self-indulgent angst.
Yes. Oh,
Yes.
that is really well done.
That's much better than where I thought you were going. when you first said they were full of, yeah.
Self-indulgent angst.
Well, the Broken Hearts Gallery, after a breakup, a young woman decides to start a gallery where people can leave trinkets from past relationships. It's rated PG-13, plays at 1:30, 4:30, and 7:30. Sounds like perhaps a good date night movie.
They
Yeah.
moon over their trinkets, which just, you know, part of me was like, oh, so cute, and part of me was like, oh, gag me with a forklift. Seriously, yeah.
Yeah. I mean that demographic, that slice of American society, is not us,
Right?
but it exists, and it is
And
amplified
and
and
they
illuminated
vote, and they
in the movie.
vote. God help us. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, you know,
Yeah.
with Halloween just around the corner, for those of you that like to celebrate that.
Didn't we just talked about the horror movie 13, right?
Right, right.
Yeah.
You're talking about a different horror movie?
The Nightmare Before Christmas.
I knew I was going to say
Ah.
that.
Jack Skellington, king of Halloween Town, discovers Christmas Town, but his attempts to bring Christmas to his home causes confusion.
Tim Burton. Tim Burton.
It's
Causes
very, very
confusion.
typical Tim Burton
Oh,
type
it's a
of.
good movie.
yeah.
That's a good movie.
It's rated PG, plays at 1, 4, and 7, and looks like it'd be kind of maybe a good one to take the kids to. or older kids?
Yeah, or not.
I can't remember. Tim Burton's a bit dark
Well, and
for the
here's
for the kidlets.
Right.
Maybe the
the kiddos, okay, but not the kidlets.
there you go.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, another one too that is rated PG and looks like it's got kind of some Halloween type of motif to it is the movie
Motif.
Coco.
Isn't that French?
Are you channeling cheese eating surrender monkeys
Oh, man,
and
yeah.
the Foreign Legion? Oh my God!
Spend enough time over there. I don't think that's going to
yeah.
happen.
Yeah, me too.
Anyway, moving right along and playing all I you think we
I
got.
liked France. I went to France one time, and everybody was very sweet to me and genuinely
Oh.
That must
nice.
have been the only
weren't
time.
you weren't in Paris.
I was
then.
in Paris.
Really, and
Yeah.
they were nice.
Everybody was.
No, it's their job not to be nice to Americans.
I have to
Well,
say
the cab driver was
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah.
I almost said a bad word.
No, I spent a lot of time in France.
Yeah,
and
I
used to
spent
speak
7
French.
hours in France.
Oh, for
Oh, wow.
Pete's sake.
Counting
I
the-
spent,
counting
I
the
spent
train
6
ride.
months in France, and I used to speak French fluently.
Right.
And and I can't.
Can you still
ignore-
swear in French?
Oh yeah.
Film
Of
at
course.
11.
Right. That never leaves you. But I have a love-hate relationship with them because they used to have a ministry of language. Honest to gosh, it was a government position to monitor the language to make sure
Did they disbar that?
they did
Oh,
because
I didn't know that.
they had if you had blue jeans, you were not supposed to say les blue jeans. You were supposed to say le denim de Nantes, which is the denim from Nantes. That's where denim, right, came from. And if you said le weekend, no, le fin de siècle, which is the end of the week, they wanted franglaise, which is that sort of bastard English-French language, to be excised. Now, that was back in the 60s, in the 70s.
So what happened to the American, English language?
We embrace change.
Yeah, daily.
No, I absolutely.
Dude, it went all, tubular.
You're like, wow. Man.
No, is one of the
Yeah.
wonderful things
Yeah, about language.
about language and
Yeah.
particularly about the English language is we're magpies. We pick up stuff from everybody
Yeah.
and use it, and it becomes part of our language, and it makes our language richer and more exact. The English language,
Unless you watch CNN.
Well,
the English language.
Just
they're
need
not speaking English, they're speaking PC.
Yeah, the English language has more words
Yes,
than I mean by a long ways
yes.
than other languages. We've got like
And-
half a million
Yes.
words. So in English, you can say things with tremendous precision
Yes.
that you cannot do in
And-
Le Weekend.
So Shakespeare, my guy,
Ah,
he
You like him.
coined somewhere around 1,600 words that we use today, which we think of just as normal, we don't know where they came from.
Right.
He is the guy. Oh, he is just amazing.
As an Arizona native, I went to Camelback High School in my freshman year. Living in Arizona, you would think that if you're going to study a foreign language, maybe, I don't know, Spanish might be a logical choice, because you're right next to Mexico and all that.
Instead you
No.
read Shakespeare.
No, I studied German. They
Yeah,
have
I did too.
6 different ways to say the.
Yeah.
Der, die, das, and ein, eine, eins.
Really?
And having to figure out which the to use, and it's like, I started looking at that, it's like, nah, I'm just going to stick with lousy English.
And you tried to spell it when it was like a block long.
Right.
Yeah, I took German for 2 years.
I passed only because the teacher liked me and for no other good reason.
I had a good accent. I couldn't remember the grammar because I was really into French, but I was taking French and German and Latin at the same time.
I remember how
Whoa.
to say a very few things, and
like a genius.
I think the only things that really lasted, I learned how to say a couple of expletives in German that we won't share, but weird how some things hang on and others don't.
Well,
That's
one of the I don't speak German. I have no idea about German whatsoever. But one of the things that I appreciate about German, and Tina just referenced it, is they hook words together so that you get a whole sentence in one word,
Yeah.
which I think is kind of charming.
Yeah, well, it's charming if you're not dyslexic, but honest to gosh, my eyes could never follow the length of that word. I would have to chop it up and then put it back together before I could, translate it.
And it's such I'm trying to think of the right term to use. It's
Guttural?
but it's worse if you're sitting really close in front of someone who's speaking it. I mean, you need to have a face shield or something. It's it can be a little messy.
Yeah.
But we digress.
I saw a German zombie movie one time.
Of course you did.
Where the kids went to Friedrichsnetski Middle School.
Oh wow! Sounds like a very serious place to study.
Well, but then there was Nosferatu, which is the vampire movie, and that's with. I think it was German. It was Klaus Kinski. Yes.
Wow.
Ja.
Klaus
Ja,
Kinski is-
ja, jawohl, mein Herr.
Hey, on another note,
Yes.
let's talk about movies for a sec.
You think?
Another movie playing at the sun. We got to buzz through these before the end of the half hour here for the folks on radio. Now we're going to stay with you for a full hour on Facebook Live, though.
Yay,
Join us.
Facebook.
Yay, Facebook.
Another movie that's playing at the Sawmill Theaters today is Coco.
Coco.
Aspiring musician Miguel, confronted with his family's ancestral ban on music, enters the land of the dead to find his great-great-grandfather, a legendary singer. It's rated PG, plays at 1, 4, and 7. Have you guys seen this one?
I have, yep.
Yeah. And?
And it is tremendously colorful and has lots and lots of energy.
It's an animated movie, if you're not
it's
familiar with it, but
animated.
it
It's
looks like
very-
the animation looks
It's
great.
very, very bright, and it's like nothing you've ever seen before either. It's something new and innovative.
Was this one a good one to take the kids to?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
cool.
yeah. In spite of the theme where you go to Mexican hell, but Mexican hell evidently is a pretty intriguing place and
Yeah.
a lot of fun.
I like to think of it as Tijuana. But, sorry, this is me.
Uh-oh.
Now, another one that you folks, it's moving right along, and I don't think we have to. Another one that you both have commented on before that I have not seen yet, but I know, Tina, you really like this
You
one
have to see it.
because it's got Jim Caviezel in it.
Yes.
And it's
Jim
got
Caviezel.
Yes.
Claudia Carvin, whatever. It's Infidel. Prisoner,
Yes,
believer,
yes, and
fighter,
yes.
infidel, inspired by incredible true events.
Yes. And really a must-see, and my plea out there to Rim Country, again, please go see this movie. It's just wonderful.
And if you're not familiar with Jim Caviezel, he's the guy that played Christ in The Passion of Christ.
Yes. And he also
Passion.
plays on Person of Interest, which is a great series on Netflix.
Very interesting.
Yeah,
I'd like to see
person
that.
person of interest is kind of on the same theme as the Equalizer.
Yes.
There's an ordinary citizen
Mhm.
that helps people that are in jams,
Yes.
An
and
American
often
man.
jams that
Big
are
jams.
life-threatening.
Yeah.
Yeah, big jams.
An American man played by Jim Caviezel is kidnapped after a friend invites him to Cairo to speak out about recent militant uprisings. His wife
Some
heads to the city
friend.
after hearing the news, determined to get him back. It's rated R, plays at 1:15, 4:15, and 7:15.
Remind me who the wife is played by.
I couldn't tell you. I
She's
can't
very-
read the fine print.
She's very good. She's very good.
Really?
The
Yeah.
whole movie is.
Yeah, she.
Is this going to be an award winner?
No.
No, because it's about Christianity and it's got Jim Caviezel, and the Hollywood doesn't like that kind of thing.
It's very cast Christian believers in a favorable light, and it
Muslim
cast-
believers in an unfavorable light.
it, particularly
Hamas.
bloodthirsty murderers in an unfavorable light.
Yeah.
And Hollywood and kind of the left in general is unable to make that distinction.
They excuse bloodthirsty murderers as long as they're not Christians.
Sure.
Well, no, and it goes back a long ways.
Yeah,
And it goes back to the regrettable period of the Soviet Union.
Yeah.
Where the left excused anything.
Yeah.
I mean, literally.
Stalin, the pogroms.
Anything
Yeah.
that they did, the
Yeah.
communists did was
If you
excused.
see that movie Mr. Jones, which is on, I believe it's Prime, that's the one about the atrocities of Stalin in the Ukraine, where he starved millions of his own people.
Right.
And the New York Times, of course, that wonderful paper.
Paper of record.
Yeah, paper of record had Walter Duranty, who won a Pulitzer Prize for lying to the American people about Stalin.
Wow.
Oh yeah, he was a scumbag to end all scumbags. Horrible man.
Wow.
And they still have that Pulitzer Prize. They should take it away.
Well, there's one more, before we're out of time
Yes.
here on the radio, there's one more movie we have to talk about.
Yep.
Also, because we're getting ready for Halloween and everything, another Walt Disney flick, and it's Hocus Pocus.
Yes.
Now, it's got Bette Midler, Sarah Jessica Parker, and Kathy,
Najimy.
that too.
Yes, and you know what? She was great. I don't know what happened to her, but back in the day,
Kathy Najimy?
yeah, she was all over the place. She was really good. She's cute.
Well, she's not anymore.
Well, that's what I said.
There you have
Do you
it.
like my echo?
And if you're not familiar with the movie, a curious youngster moves to Salem, where he struggles to fit in before awakening.
Salem?
Salem.
That's right, before awakening a trio of diabolical witches that were executed in the 17th century. Sounds like fun. Actually, I've seen the movie. It is a pretty
It's
funny
cute.
movie. It's a comedy sort
Yeah.
of Halloween flick.
Yeah.
It's rated PG, so
Light-hearted Halloween movie.
yeah, plays at 1, 4, and 7, and just all kinds of good stuff going on at the Sawmill Theaters. And as we heard last week from Craig, but it looks like we will finally be getting some new movies coming out soon.
Yay.
Well, Wonder Woman on Christmas Day.
Yay.
Uh,
Yay.
I've always wondered about
Yeah,
women.
and Gal Gadot, she's great.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sounds good.
Did you know that Gal Gadot, of course, is Israeli,
Yes.
and she comes from a little town near Tel Aviv. She's former, of course, everybody knows she's a former Miss Israel before she got into the acting business. She's a mother of 2, Army veteran, and in her hometown, they renamed the town square in honor of President Trump.
Really?
Yay.
Wow.
Yes. Plus, she is now slated to play Cleopatra. And the left, I can't say the end of the word, the left ards, they are objecting because it's supposed to be a woman of color. Of course, whatever that term means. But
Right.
it turns out that Cleopatra was part Greek. She was Macedonian.
Yeah, she wasn't
Yeah,
part Greek. She was Greek.
She was Greek. And so Gail, I mean, these people have nothing better to do, honestly. They should be sent to the Ukraine during the Stalin period, I think, It would give them a little
Hey.
more focus.
Harvest of Sorrow.
Yes,
if you
Harvest
would
of
like to see a
Sorrow.
movie
Oh, my gosh.
about the starvation
Yeah.
of the Ukraine,
Well, or Mr. Jones.
or
And
Mr.
you can
Jones.
go to the Ukraine even today and find it very depressing,
Yeah,
especially down in the
terrible.
Danube Delta region.
Yeah.
It's a stark contrast between Romania on one side of the
Yeah.
river and the Ukraine on the
Oh,
other.
still now, huh?
Yeah,
It just looks like something right out of the old days of the Soviet Union with multifamily dwellings that all look exactly the same, all shades of gray, and to me I found it depressing. But that's just me.
That's just you.
Anyway, so all kinds of good things playing at the Sawmill Theaters all the time.
And what about tomorrow?
What about tomorrow?
Well, tomorrow
Tomorrow,
we're having
see?
a
Faith-based.
patriotic movie,
Patriotic movie.
Well, that's right.
Yankee Doodle Dandy,
With
for
James
free,
Agnew.
presented by the Rim Country Republican Club,
Yep.
for free.
Free.
Yankee Doodle Dandy, 10 a.m. Also, simultaneously at 10 a.m., but you have to pay for it, is Faith Like Potatoes,
Yes.
part of the faith-based series of films that the Sawmill Theater is presenting.
So a
Wow.
plethora of wealth.
So get on out there to the Sawmill Theaters tomorrow, and
10 a.m., 10
10
a.m.
a.m.
Seeing Cagney in a movie on the big screen, I think in and of itself would be a kick.
Yeah,
I mean,
he's a hoofer. He was a major dancer. He was not just a gangster.
right.
He's
But I mean,
so
that goes
good.
back 40s?
No,
30s.
30, 35, I
30s.
think.
Wow.
Yeah, I think
Right,
it
in
is,
that
yeah.
in that era.
It's a
anyway.
black and white. It's wonderful.
And of course, I've never seen it on the big screen ever.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So this is a great chance. Tomorrow
Yes.
morning at 10 o'clock,
Definitely.
Sawmill Theaters, get out there and check it out. And again, you can always find out what's playing and when it's playing by going online to sawmilltheaters.com. That's what I did.
Yeah.
And
That's what I did.
and you'll
That's
be able to-
handy, isn't it?
It works, especially when Craig's not here. Anyway, we got to take a quick break, get you back to more of your favorite music on the radio. We're going to stick with you on Facebook Live, so check us out there on KRIM.
Why don't you play Yankee Doodle Dandy for them?
Yeah.
Why don't you guys just hum it on the way out here while we're going to have more of your favorite music coming up. Not to be confused with what you're hearing in the background right now. More coming up. But first, look at country weather. I've lost control.
Bring out your dead. Bring out your dead.
Bring out your dead. I'm not dead.
I'm
He's
feeding
not
much
dead yet.
pizza.
Oh, he soon will be. Put him in the dung room.
All right, so now's when it gets really weird, when it's just Facebook Live.
Is this the X-rated part of the
No, no.
I have to say that there is a soft spot in my head for
Your head?
for Monty Python movies.
Oh, I back in
like,
when I was in high school,
Oh,
I mean, they, on, PBS,
Yeah.
I don't remember what night of the week it was, but once a week was always Monty Python's Flying Circus.
Yep.
Or Circus.
Circus.
And myself and a few of my other demented friends, I mean, we were die-hard Monty Python. The large. Anyway, but we digress again.
And a foot.
So, what are we going to talk about? We're going to talk about my microphone falling apart here.
I'll
So,
take it.
we were going to talk about what were we going to talk about? We had something about music and movies or something.
No, we're going to talk about patriotic movies.
Patriotic movies.
Patriotic
Okay.
movies.
What is your most patrioticest movie that you've ever seen?
Most I like The Patriot.
Oh, which was shown last weekend,
Yeah, good
which
movie.
I saw,
Wow.
and I cried.
Well, what was the concession stand closed?
Man, no, man.
I love the scene where
Oh,
the Patriot goes into the backwoods
yeah.
tavern,
With it.
and he opens a door, and he just shouts into this bar out in the woods. He says, "Hooray for King George! King George is the greatest!" And then slams the door shut, and there's just a horde of knives and tomahawks.
Yeah.
But other than that, a fun guy.
And then he knows whom to recruit.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
He was trying to get guys that didn't like King George.
Yeah.
And
How he's-
the bar was full of them.
Yep. They
Perfect
were
place to
all
be.
there. Yeah. No, it's a wonderful movie.
Trying to think of
And-
another good patriotic
Well,
movie.
what about Braveheart? Even though it's not
It's not American Patriot.
American, but you know what? Oh, God,
And I know that
patriotism.
they took some
I'm
creative license.
I'm Scots.
Yeah,
so-
is that right?
So am I. I'm part Scotch.
Well, that
So there you
explains
go.
the skirt you're
Yes.
always wearing.
Yeah, that's right. Well,
But-
part of them.
Yeah. Film at 11. But the Braveheart, it was one of my
Oh,
favorite movies of all time.
yeah.
And I understand that they took a little bit of creative license on
Yeah.
that some think they should not have, but I thought that was a wonderfully done movie.
And William Wallace was a true hero.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah, the scene, my favorite scene from Braveheart is when the guy rides a horse into this other guy's bedroom
Yes.
and smites him with a mace and chain.
Yes.
It just gives him a really good smite.
Smite.
Well, that never happened in real life, but it was so cool to see it.
Yeah, it was great.
I'm trying to think of more American-based, if you think about just like American patriotic movies.
Mr. Smith Goes to Washington.
I saw that a couple of weeks
Yes,
ago.
it was
At the Sawmill Theaters.
Yeah, compliments of the
Republican
Club who showed it for free.
Yep.
Wow.
No, that is a magnificent and very poignant movie because you see things like that happening again today.
Mhm.
It's just never stops. And people will say something like, "Oh, the Constitution is out of date." If human nature is the same as it was when the Constitution was written and as well as when the Romans lived, the Constitution is not out of date. It constrains human nature, which has not changed. It's the same.
Yeah, something we ought not mess with.
Yeah.
I'm struggling to come up with some other ones that really stand out. And I know there's been a bunch. For
Well,
some
there were-
reason, I've got Animal House on my head this
There were
morning. so
Hollywood movies
I'm a zit.
during the 30s and the 40s. They made a lot of patriotic movies about the war.
Right.
And John Wayne patriotic movies, the Green Berets,
Oh, yeah.
you know. that was-
Terrible movie, but John Wayne's always good.
Yeah, he was good.
But he made a good one, good patriotic movie, Sands of Iwo Jima.
Yes, excellent movie.
And we will probably be showing that as part of the patriotic movie
yeah.
program
Good.
Yeah.
coming on in future weeks.
Yeah.
But that.
Well, and hats off to
I
the
mean,
Republican Club
that-
for doing that too. I think that's what a great outreach.
Yeah, well, it's thank you. I think so too, and it's a way of supporting the theater as well in their time of trouble.
And this has been tough for so many different businesses, and the theater's right up there at the top of the list with them. This has been a struggle.
Yeah, but Sansa Iwo Jima is that I cried in that one.
I did too. When John Wayne at the end.
John Wayne gets killed.
Oh my gosh, yeah. What spoiler?
The butler did it.
Yeah.
Well, and then,
come on,
think
it's-
about Tora.
Oh, there's a good one.
That's another one we showed that was in the
Patriotic
theater.
Japanese movie.
Yeah, but it was really a good view of what happened at Pearl
Well, in the
Harbor.
movie Pearl Harbor itself,
Yeah.
I thought it was some of the special effects in there,
Right,
as far as planes coming down through the flak and getting ready to do a strafing run and stuff. That was,
yeah,
I mean, there was some cinematography there that pretty darn difficult to pull off looking as realistic as they did, but the overall message in the movie I thought was good.
yeah. Remind me, what was the one, it was filmed in Hawaii, the
Midway.
one with, no, Burt Lancaster,
Oh,
Deborah
from-
Carr,
from Here
From
to
Here to
Eternity.
Eternity. Oh my God, that is
That's when
such,
they're rolling on the beach and
Oh.
all of that, right?
yeah.
Smooching.
Ah,
But it
Smooching
had
on the beach.
Frank Sinatra, who I believe won an Oscar for that movie.
Hmm.
He was so amazing, really. And Montgomery Clift was in that too.
Yeah. That is quite a good movie.
That's an
Maybe
amazing
we should
show that.
we should think about
Yeah.
that one.
Right.
We might have to. We only paid for 6 episodes because it's free to the public. It's not free to the
Mhm.
Right.
to the club. The club just pays for it. But we might extend that because there are a lot of movies, and I think From Here to Eternity is. Yeah. If you're not familiar with it, Randy, I know you haven't seen as many movies as we have.
From Here to Eternity, I've seen that. It's
But
been like a gazillion years.
It's set just prior to
Right, to Pearl Harbor.
to Pearl Harbor, yeah.
Right.
And it's in Hawaii, and
Yeah.
the soldiers of Montgomery Clift and Frank Sinatra and the others are professional soldiers. I mean, they're
Yeah.
guys that have been in the Army for a
And
long
Ernest
time.
Borgnine was in that.
Oh, Ernest Borgnine.
Yeah.
You
From
know,
McHale's Navy.
I saw Ernest Borgnine on television a couple of days ago. The 4,000th time I've seen the movie Reds.
Oh,
Or Red, I'm sorry, not
Red,
Reds.
not Reds. Reds
Red.
was Warren Beatty.
Yeah, Red, it means retired, extremely dangerous. It's about retired CIA operatives.
Yeah.
And Ernest Borgnine plays a very small role in that,
Yeah,
but I was
yeah.
always pleased to see him.
He was
As I
great.
will be pleased later this afternoon.
Was
to
Tim
see-
Conway in that too?
to see Deborah Winger, who I
Yes,
have not seen
yes.
for a long time.
Right.
Well, and she has been in, the other day
She
I
went
was with-
nuts.
I mean, she starred in a gentleman, what was an officer and a
An
gentleman?
officer and a gentleman.
Yeah, which was when she was young, and with Richard Gere when he was young, and then
That's
one
a
of
very, very, very good movie.
it is an excellent movie, and Scott Glenn is in that. And then another movie that she starred in, which is just, you've got to bring your box of Kleenex, is the one about C.S. Lewis, where she starred as his wife.
I never saw that.
Oh my God, so you've got to see that. And C.S. Lewis married a woman named Joy Davidson.
Good name, Joy.
Yes, and she was an American woman, and people were really flummoxed by the fact, because he was such a confirmed bachelor and he married her late in life. She got cancer, and she had 2 sons, and I was just reading about both of them. One was a paranoid schizophrenic who was very violent and really was just tragic. But the other one was just devoted to C.S. Lewis, and after his mom died, I believe Lewis adopted him, but I mean, he was just, and he carried on the tradition of C.S.
What's
Lewis.
the movie?
I'd have to look it up. Darkland? I'm not sure.
Well, while you're looking that
Yeah, I'm gonna look it up.
But
let's-
Deborah Winger did have
She
some
was
spectacular
amazing.
roles, but she lost her marbles someplace for a
Yeah,
while.
well,
we all have tough rows to hoe sometime.
Yeah,
Um,
I mean, she's not the only one.
no, that's right.
yeah.
Let me throw a different twist of a question at y'all. just to,
Okay,
it came to my mind a moment ago and I want to ask.
well,
When
quick
you look
before
back-
you lose it.
Yeah, really, this won't take long. What was it again? Anyway, when you think back to your childhood of a movie that significantly impacted you as a kid,
Oh,
what
easy.
comes to mind?
Oh, the crawling eyeball.
So you've been like this all your life, is that what you're saying? The crawling
Oh
eyeball?
my
Or crawling
goodness.
eye, I think,
Oh my
maybe.
goodness, the
It's
crawling
a-
eye?
Yeah, it's one of those science 1950s era science fiction,
Right.
and I was 6 or 7, and my parents stashed me in the movie theater for an hour and a half because we were in Vegas.
There, go eat popcorn, shut up.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
They, they knew where I was
Mhm.
and how long I would be there, so it was a safe place to park me. Well, they went. I don't know what they did because I was in the
I
theater.
do, yeah.
And I was like, 7. But that was scary as all get out, and it was just a stupid movie. But there's one scene where this space alien is in the form of a big eye with little tentacles around the edges of it, comes out of a mine shaft because it's in Nevada, I guess, or someplace out west, and it just kind of appears out of the mine shaft, and it was really scary.
How about you, Tina?
The first thing that came to mind that really affected me, now I saw a lot of movies when I was younger. It was the 50s, we were in Singapore, we had, screenings every Friday night at the American Club, and,
Wow.
the adults would drink and we would watch movies, and, it was fun.
I mean,
And,
for fairly recent movies or?
oh, they
releases?
were out, they would ship them out from the States, and of course they were on celluloid.
Right.
And, some of them were 30s and 40s, and, and then we had, big stuff when we got 50s movies. But really, honestly, the one that just popped into my mind was when I was 13 years old.
13.
No,
a
I'm
horror story.
14, no, I was 14, because I had been in boarding school in Hawaii from 13 to 14. Then my parents brought me to Jamaica from 14 to 15, so that, because that's where they were transferred. And there was this theater that we used to go to in Jamaica before it became too dangerous.
Right.
And they showed The Horror of Dracula with Christopher Lee and Peter Cushing.
Wow.
And I swear I couldn't sleep for weeks.
Yeah, there's some movies that as a young kid you
Yeah.
probably ought not see.
Well, and Christopher
That's why
Lee.
we have ratings.
Yeah, Christopher Lee was the most amazing. There's been so many people play Dracula, and many of them very well.
Right.
But he was just there's a persona that he played, and he was always very sinister and very Saturnian. And I don't know if you remember, but you remember the Beatles movies?
Yes, I do.
Okay, remember Richard Lester directed The Three Musketeers and The Four Musketeers with Michael York, Christopher Lee playing Cardinal Richelieu, right?
Easy for you to
And
say.
Oliver, what's his name? No, that was later. But these movies are, again, they were the funniest movies. The Three Musketeers, they're classics. And Christopher Lee played this evil, Richelieu, the cardinal. He was just always...
France's version of Snidely Whiplash.
Oh, man, bad boy.
Except he was a real
Yeah.
guy.
He was a
Yeah.
real
Oh,
guy,
really?
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, he was, he was sort of...
I don't
like
watch much
the
history either.
manipulator behind the throne, yeah.
Yeah,
But he was one of my
He ran
favorite.
France for quite some
Yeah,
time.
the king was just a figurehead. He was the dude.
He was busy.
Yeah, he was the dude.
As a kid, one of the movies that I remember seeing, and I've watched it many times since, but I remember it really, I found it riveting, and I'm probably the only kid that ever said that. But did you ever see the movie Spencer's Mountain?
Yes.
Of course.
And of course, when the tree fell on Grandpa. But there was something about that. It's kind of like a precursor to the Waltons. That type of storyline. If you're not familiar.
Yeah,
with it.
my people come from that part of the country, and there's every summer there's a Spencer's Mountain festival down
Really? Wow.
down in southern Missouri. Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Well, now you're making me remember another movie which
I'm forcing her to.
I don't think I could even see it again. Old Yeller.
Oh, Old Yeller, yeah.
Old Yeller, and also at the same time frame, I think, Shane, with Alan Ladd and Jack Palance, and that so affected me. Both of those.
I was the youngest of 5 boys in my family, and one of my older brothers and his
That's why
girlfriend.
you're so tough.
Yeah, that's right. One of my older brothers and his girlfriend took me out to see a movie one night, and we went to a theater and watched Ben.
Oh.
Scared the wee wattens out of me.
That's got the song by Michael Jackson.
Yeah, when
That's
Michael Jackson was still a really young kid.
Such a sweet little song.
Yeah.
Holy moly, that movie's scary.
Yeah, and unless you really like, rodents eating you. And everything.
Eating your face.
Yeah.
Ugh.
But I remember, even at that age, leaving the theater going, why did they bring me here? I don't know what they were doing in the chairs behind me. I don't know. Anyway, just I'm trying to think of movies from decades gone by that that still stick in my head.
The Wizard of Oz, the flying monkey scared the pajamas out
And
of me.
that was as a kid.
I'm telling
that
you,
freaked
those
me
were
right out.
scary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was never scared by the flying monkeys.
Yeah,
I didn't pay any attention to
You're
them.
a zombie kind of guy. You're inured.
Yeah, well, that's probably true.
Yeah.
But what
Well,
an amazing blockbuster, thing that was for the Wizard of Oz. That was the first movie to come out.
1939.
First movie to come out in color.
Oh,
And
and remember,
that
it
had to be
starts in black and white,
Right.
and then
Yep.
it goes into color. It's just
Because Oz
incredible.
is more colorful.
Yes.
It's kind of like Mexican Hell there. You can see, you want to see Coco.
It's like day glow, man.
Yeah, it is. I remember seeing as I was quite young and being affected by it to some extent was the Fighting Seabees.
I saw that.
Oh, wow.
Also with John Wayne.
John Wayne.
Yep.
John Wayne.
There's one really cool scene where John Wayne gets on a bulldozer and he raises the blade and uses it as an armored protection,
Yeah.
and he goes and smites the enemy.
Yeah.
But I was not very old when I saw that. And
Yeah.
of course, I'm old enough now that a lot of the World War II stuff, that was still almost contemporary.
Mhm.
Every single adult that I knew served in World War II.
Mhm.
So when I saw a World War II movie, it really meant something to me because
Right.
I knew all of these people that were involved in it.
Well, if you saw the bridge over the River Kwai, when we were in Singapore, we knew people who had been
Ooh.
prisoners of war of Changi Prison, which is in Singapore. And one of the prisoners of war there was James Clavell, who wrote many, many books, but his first book was King Rat.
Also
was-
a great movie.
With George Siegel.
Wow.
That is a seriously good movie. Everybody should see that. And he came out of Changi Prison. He was over 6 feet tall, and he weighed 85 pounds. And we knew people who had been on and survived the Bataan Death March.
And there's a great
Yeah.
book. Matter of fact, it was the very first, fat novel that I ever read.
Mhm.
And I believe it was the title was "Give Us This Day," I believe,
Yeah.
and it was about the Bataan Death March.
Yes.
And
Yes.
man, and that's just riveting. Hard to imagine people
Yeah.
being able to survive something like that.
Yeah.
And then I've spent time
A lot
in
of
the
them
Philippines.
didn't.
A lot of them didn't. And then James Clavell also wrote Shogun, which is set in Japan. Noble House, which I believe set in Hong Kong.
Hong Kong.
And then he wrote about Taiwan. And right now, by the way, just a little news alert, China is making moves to take over Taiwan.
Uh-huh.
And that is so scary because look what they've done in Hong Kong. It's really bad.
I prefer to think of it
True.
as Formosa. It just sounds
Yes,
nicer.
Formosa. It was Formosa, yeah.
Well, taking another thought that has come to my mind as far as movies from a million years ago when I was a kid that I still remember well. Vincent Price was in a lot of really unusual, spooky movies,
Yes.
but House of Wax.
Yes.
Oh,
That was
That's scary.
remade recently.
Really?
Yes, with Paris Hilton. Is wonderfully well done. Paris Hilton is underappreciated.
The movie or Paris Hilton is wonderfully well done?
Well, both.
Oh, okay. Just wanted to be sure I understood.
Paris Hilton really is well done.
Yeah, no, she's known more for her home movies, but than
Yeah.
her theatrical movies. But House of Wax was quite well done.
Yeah, yeah.
But I remember that was just one that,
Yeah.
again, as a kid, I found pretty freaky.
The people's
And then
faces melt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Remember Robbie the Robot?
Yes!
Forbidden Planet.
Wow.
That one stuck with me.
Well,
That
and
was-
Robbie
yeah.
the Robot is
Yeah.
still with us.
Yeah.
It was such a vivid image
Mm-hmm.
that he went on to Lost in Space. Had a long career on a TV show, and
Yep.
he's been in other movies as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird how movies can affect the memories, that it was stuck in your head from a movie can affect you. Because I know with that House of Wax, as a kid, I would, buddies of mine and myself, we'd ride our bikes all the way down to Madame Tussauds Wax Museum, just on the
Oh, my
south side
goodness.
of Papago Park on
I thought that was in London.
Yeah, well, they have a few of them.
They have
But
several.
it was really an amazing wax
franchise.
museum. And
Yeah.
I always found the place, interesting but creepy.
Way.
Because, that's some really realistic stuff.
Yeah, way.
Yeah.
Like beheadings and whatnot.
Well, they had a number of unusual things in there. A funny side note to that, a buddy of mine and myself, who just
We'll be the judge if it's funny or not.
who just happens to be the vice mayor of Scottsdale today, we decided we were going to hitchhike down to the Wax Museum. And I had grown up around 36th Street in Osborne, and boy, has that neighborhood ever changed. But anyway, we ended up walking all the way there because no one would pick us up, and it was in the
Not
summer.
even sailors.
That's right. It was in the summer, it was hot, it was nasty. And so we go all the way through the whole Wax Museum, and the very last thing there was you go into the Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. It was a little, kind of a lighthearted thing before you leave. Go through, see all this weirdness and all this nonsense. And when we get in there, I've been out in the sun so long, as soon as we walked in and saw the Seven Dwarfs, I passed out.
So,
Wasn't from the Seven
so
Dwarfs, it was the heat.
you were fainty.
As a kid, I had a little touch of heat stroke twice.
Sneezy, dopey,
Yeah.
and fainty.
Yeah, fainted.
Yeah, really, yeah.
And
Well, let's just talk
And
about
horny was not one of the seven. So cut that out.
yeah. A
That was
more
number 8.
cheerful note, all the great musicals that I saw as a kid.
Huh.
Oh yeah, Fred Astaire, Ginger Rogers, Esther Williams, Sid Charisse.
Iron Butterfly.
Oh no, man, Gene Kelly. I was just a musical freak.
I saw all those too when
Yeah.
I was little, and
Yeah.
it didn't make any impression on me
Well,
whatsoever.
you're a guy, I'm a chick. I was studying ballet at the time. I
Well, so
loved
let's-
this
let's
stuff.
digress away from
Yes.
movies for just a
That's
second.
French
TV
dancers.
shows.
The Red Shoes with
Oh,
Moira Shearer. Hello.
good.
That was a ballet movie.
Well
yeah.
played, well
Thank you.
played.
Thank you.
I, however, had a troubled childhood in that I was forced once a week to watch Lawrence Welk.
I like Lawrence Welk.
I was living overseas and I thankfully missed that one.
And now we'll have a Bobby and a Sissy dance. Actually, tremendously talented musicians and dancers and singers and all that.
I
But,
wanna thank all those cards and letters coming from out there in television
Well,
land.
the thing that's
Sometimes we wonder where this television land is. Could it be a couple of miles from where Disneyland is? Thank you.
Hey,
isn't
you
it
better
weird how
watch
these
it,
things stick
or I'm
in your
gonna-
head?
I'm going to sing the Singapore national anthem in Malay.
Oh wow, that'd be great.
I can do that.
Wow. That's we all have our.
Do you want to
our
go
gifts.
out with that?
In a moment. We
Okay.
still got a couple more.
Do they do it in
It's-
Malay, Chinese, and English?
No. It was we learned it in Malay because when I was living there, they got their independence and they got their national anthem, and I learned it in school, and I can still sing it.
Wow.
Yeah.
But they don't represent all of the Singaporean languages.
Dude, just
No,
because
just
it's
Malay.
98% Chinese, the official language was Malay.
Huh.
Yeah.
Well, what do you know?
And I still speak to my dogs in Malay. I tell them they want makans.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Well,
But
with
the dogs are Chinese.
They're chows.
That's Chinese, right?
Yeah, but they don't know that.
Oh, they think they're
You
Malay.
think they're Malay.
So now you didn't have
Dogs
to.
are so easy to trick.
That's right. You didn't have to watch Lawrence Welk. You
I
were
couldn't.
watching it as a kid also.
Oh yeah,
You just
this is-
sang
everybody.
from it.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's a spoof on, because every episode they would thank the people that wrote the cards and letters in, and there's a spoof song about that, which I just recited.
Well,
It was easy to spell.
with my parents, this was
The
like
lovely
mandatory.
lemon sister.
Yeah, oh yes. But with my parents, this was mandatory viewing because where they came from in Iowa, at the Surf Ballroom in Iowa, they used to, as a young couple, they would go there and dance live to Lawrence Welk and his
Awesome.
orchestra. And so this was a way for them to relive all of that, and then the Surf Ballroom burned down and they rebuilt it.
I used to attend the Convoy Surf Palace, Tijuana.
Those Tijuana stories.
Don't go there, don't go there.
Yeah, we have stories, but we ought not tell them.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, so we do need to cut this short because I know DJ Pammy needs to come in and get her 11 o'clock show going.
So
So
one of these
the house-
days, I'm gonna sit.
no, I think we should do it.
Oh,
right
now?
I think sure, and
Okay.
I'll
The
just
house
get over here.
band was the Convoy Watusi Band.
So-
Not just any Watusi band, the Convoy Watusi.
It's the Convoy Surf Palace.
Oh, there you go. Makes sense.
But yes, let's hear the national anthem.
Okay.
Go ahead, do it.
Mari kita rakyat Singapura sama-sama menuju Bangangia. Cita-cita kita yang mulia berjaya Singapura. Marilah kita bersatu dengan niat yang baru. Semua kita berseru, majulah Singapura, majulah Singapura.
All right. Well
Yes.
done.
I like
I
that.
learned that when I was 10.
And you still got it.
Hey, you know, that's where the brain cells are.
I had a brain cell once.
Yeah, I
Left me
know.
in the 70s.
You know, isn't that weird? I will not sing that for 2 years, 3 years, and right back.
Well, and there's so many things where all of a sudden you see one
Yeah.
thing and it reminds you. It's like that whole thing with Spencer's Mountain. I haven't thought
Yeah.
of Spencer's Mountain in decades.
I know it.
And for some reason
We
that's
do
just
that
popped
to
into my
you.
head. That's right. You
We're good.
We're good for it.
Good,
We're good for it.
That's right. Age regression here, but it's all good. Well, let's get out here where the air's a little cooler.
Yeah.
Okay, it's all good.